Hello participants of micro irrigation engineering subject. I invite you to lecture 32. Lecture 32 deals with installation and operation of drip irrigation system. In previous lectures, we dealt about micro irrigation components. We dealt with filtration system, we dealt with fertigation system, we worked out some problems on this. Now, when after the design of the micro irrigation system it is done, we need to install and operate drip irrigation system, so that it works effectively and we can achieve maximum benefit out of the system which has been installed in the field. So, we will be dealing in this lecture about installation of surface drip irrigation system. We will also deal with how to operate different components which are joined with drip irrigation. So, in this topic, when we say installation of drip irrigation system, means we need to install all the components which are there in the head control unit. Now, head control unit, it consists of installation of the pumping set, it consists of several valves which are there in the system, installation of water monitoring device, that is water meter, filters, fertilizer equipment and flow control units. We deal with the installation connecting with the mains, sub main, laying of the drip tape, laterals and also connecting drip emitters. So, when we talk of head control unit, so first important point is in the head control unit is installation of the pumping system or overhead tank, but overhead tank has a limited capacity, or we need to lift water at adequate height. For filling the tank also we need to have pump. So, commonly used pump is centrifugal pump. So, we need to install a centrifugal pump, and for any system which we talk of, it is the what should be the suitable size of the pump, and once we have designed the size of the pump, means we have found out the horsepower requirement of the pump, then it should be properly installed at a the suitable foundation and at correct location. Now, type of installation, it will depend upon the type of water source. This water source can be surface water or ground water. If it is a ground water, then it will also again, whether it is water is being taken from a open well which is at shallow depth, or it could be from a tube well which is at deeper depth. So, the depth of water is important, and accordingly the selection of the installation of the system, it can be made. Then it comes that what is the type of prime mover which we are using. So, prime mover, as I told, it could be electric motor or diesel engine to operate the pump. Normally, a centrifugal pump operate when the suction lift is limited to 5 to 6 meter, and it is further reduced if the length of the pipe of the suction pipe is increased. So, foot valve, it is another component and it is installed at the suction side of the pump and suction side of the pipeline, and then without which the movement of the pump it is stop or slow down. So, all the water in the pipeline will run back through the pump, making it impossible to restart pump unless pipeline is first refilled with the water. So, this is an important component of the centrifugal pump. Then it comes next part, it comes what is the suction limit. So, suction limit is, as I told you, that it should be within 5 to 6 meter, and to take care of the suction limit, we need to means there should be proper flexibility that we can increase the delivery head and reduce the suction rate by lowering the pump at appropriate depth in the from the surface, from the land surface. If the delivery pipeline is long, it is also important to have another check valve or non-return valve at the pump outlet. So, this will take care of the particular whole pipeline, it is filled with the water, and it is necessary because suddenly if the pump stops, so flow will continue until the pressure drop to enough to cause cavitation in the pipeline, and when upward movement is exhausted, the flow reverses and cavitation bubbles implode, creating severe water hammer. So, other installation of the centrifugal pumps could be below the ground surface, called sump installation. So, it can be above the ground level or it can be at the below the ground level. So, you can see here when the pump is installed at the ground level, and then water is taken from the it could be a pond or from a river, and then it is lifted to some hilly part of the region, and then water is supplied at that particular place. So, this could be the another situation where the suction installation of the centrifugal is done. Now, when we talk of the water level is quite deep, then the pump is kept near the water surface. So, it is kept near the water surface, that we call it as a sump installation, and motor is on the ground level. So, delivery head increases, in that case means total head which when we are talking static discharge head. So, static discharge head will be calculated based on this. So, in order to get effective the proper total head, we need to lower the pump and then install in case of sump installation. So, when we are installing filters, so for installation of filters, a hard base made of concrete is constructed for installation of filters and other heat control units according to size. One should take care that there should be minimum use of accessories such as elbow, reducers, so as to minimize the head loss. So, this is important part, that as far as possible minimum connectors should be made in the pipeline. It could be from the pump nipple, means from the pump side, that from pump, and when we are coming to the main pipeline, sub main pipeline, lateral pipeline. So, in these units as far as possible there should be minimum connection, so that head loss does not reduce much. Filter size should be in accordance with the capacity of the system. Capacity of the system means our pumping system and the filter candle, it should match each other. So, that there should be proper matching with these unit. The other point is that the delivery pipe of the pump should be connected directly to the hydrocyclone or media filter or sand filter. So, hydrocyclone filter or the media filter, it should be connected with the pump. That could be followed by the fertigation unit and then screen filter, then connected with the main pipeline. So, this is the means your layout system, one should make it so that there is a minimum head loss takes place and effectiveness of the entire system, it can work efficiently. Now, once the sand or screen filters are installed in the correct position or in a proper means of correct alignment, the arrangement for backwashing or filter is one of the essential requirement. You can see here the this is the media filter, in which the sand, the coarse gravel, then medium size gravel, coarse sand and then medium size sand. It is a filled in a, this is a vertical media filter, which we have installed in our farm to connect with the micro irrigation system, and this system is being used for irrigating vegetable as well as other crops. Now, the water is brought from the, you can see here the water is brought from the pump, then this is the inlet end of the pump, and then water is the water is brought from the inlet end, means from the pump to this unit, and then it will pass, this water will pass from the bed media and then it will go to the main pipeline. It is connected with the main pipeline. Now, when we find that the head loss in the pump, in the filter, it is more than the prescribed limit, that is 20 kilopascal, then the water is supplied from this end and then this valve is closed. This valve is made open and then water will come out from this and then backwashing is done. So, this is the arrangement what we are seeing here, the water is brought from this end. So, this is the part which is coming from this end, this is, so this is supply end, then it comes to the again another filter, this is a screen filter and then it is connected to the main pipeline. So, before it goes to the main pipeline, a water meter is connected and we are able to monitor how much amount of water it is passing through the. So, one can know that what is the volume of water, at the same time one can know what is the rate of flow in a given time, it can be calculated. So, then it goes to the main pipeline and from main pipeline sub main and other units they are connected. Then we come to the fertigation equipment installation. In the pressurized irrigation system, the fertilizer injection unit is located between the sand filter and screen filter. Of course, it will depend upon the field location and then quality of the water. The general recommendation is that fertilizer solution should pass through at least 290-degree turns to ensure adequate time for thorough mixing. It can take place so as to remove the precipitate with the help of screen filter, and it is must that fertigation unit is installed at upstream end of the screen filter, so as to filter the undissolved matter present in the fertilizer solution. So, if at all there is some chemical reaction, it has taken place. So, this should be taken care, and then it should be the screened out by using the screen filter. Here what you see that the water distribution means a network. Here what we see that there is a installation of main pipeline and sub main pipeline. Both the main and sub mains are installed at a means below the ground level at a minimum depth of about 0.5 meter, and they are unaffected by cultivation or by movement of heavy harvesting or any other interculture operation machinery. So, they are normally kept at about 0.5 meter to 0.6 meter below the ground level, and this is what you see that the main pipeline has been laid below the ground level. This is also we have installed in our farm for irrigating the crop, mainly vegetable crop and other crops are also being irrigated by using the this particular drip irrigation system. So, lateral with online emission devices, these are portable, they are removed at the end of each season. Generally sub main pipeline, it runs across the direction of the plant rows. As per the recommendation of USCS, that is United States Soil Conservation Service, they have recommended that what should be the depth at which the such pipeline should be laid. So, this will depend upon the what is the size of the pipeline. Larger the pipeline size, then it should be laid more, means the depth of the placing the pipeline, it should be more. So, this is what we see. If it is a 12 millimeter to 60 millimeter dia pipeline, normally it is placed 45 centimeter below the land surface, and then if the pipe size is of 60 to 100 millimeter size, then it is placed about 2 feet below the ground level, and when it is greater than the 600 millimeter diameter pipeline, then this is placed 75 centimeter below the ground level. So, it is important to clean mud and other impurities which are deposited in the pipeline before fitting of mains and sub main as well as gate walls. A ball valve is provided at the inlet end of the sub main, and after the ball valve, air release valve is connected on the drip tape or sub main pipeline. So, that the whatever air entered in the pipeline or entrapped in the pipeline, that can be removed by using the air release valve. A flush valve is required at the end of each sub main pipeline to facilitate sub main flushing. We need to lay lateral pipeline. So, once the grommet takeoffs are fixed on the sub main, lateral poly laying is done as per the design. So, for this holes are drilled on the submain according to the grommet takeoff. So, if the this means your the size of the grommet takeoff is 8 millimeter, then 11.9 millimeter dia drill bit is used, and then if it is the grommet means the pipe size is of 13 millimeter, then the so we because we need to put the grommet for connecting the lateral pipeline. So, these are some basic arrangement one this is needed to properly connect the lateral pipeline with the submain pipeline. Laterals are fixed to one end of the takeoff. Lateral placement is done according to the row distance with sufficient shrinking allowance, and extra some provision is made so that the length of the lateral is given little longer. The drippers are punched on the top of the lateral as per the crop requirement. So, size of the dripper, and then the particularly the what should be the direction of the flow, that is also important. It can be taken care depending on the type of drippers. Generally, laterals are laid on the ground for surface drip system and underground in case of subsurface drip system. Usually, laterals are placed along contours on sloping land if in case of surface drip system. The downstream side of the lateral can be closed by simply folding back the pipe and closing it with a ring larger diameter pipe, which we call it as a end plug. This can be easily slipped for flushing the lateral. Here you can see how the surface drip laterals are being installed on the land surface, where there is a arrangement, and then there is a pool, means where the laterals are placed in this pool as the tractor is being forwarded, this pool also drives, and then it is placed. So, and then these are at appropriate spacing. So, depending on the crop row spacing, these pools are being it is coming above the ground level and laterals are being placed. You see here how the laterals are coming over the land surface when the surface drip laterals are being driven, that is mechanically driven for a larger area. When it is to be laid below the ground level, that is subsurface lateral. So, this is also done mechanically by putting the. So, there is a this particular pool is there on which the laterals are placed, and then when the tractor is being driven, it is a placing below the ground level. So, after it is a place, so one end of the subsurface lateral is connected with the submain pipeline. This is what you see, and this is the connection where it is being made, and then depending on the root zone of the crop, accordingly the subsurface laterals have been placed. Now, punching of laterals and fixing of drip emitters. So, punching of laterals should start from submain end, means from the upstream side. We should start the upstream side of the lateral. We will start the attaching drip emitters. Water should be allowed to flow through the lateral, so as to get bulging effect in the pipe, which makes easy for punching the lateral. And then the dripper position is fixed as per the crop spacing, means depending on the spacing of the crop, and then number of drippers needed, it is decided. The drippers are fixed on laterals as per the arrows marked, and it should be towards the sub main side, means water is being taken in the lateral pipeline from the sub main pipeline. So, accordingly this thing one should take care when we are fixing the drippers. While fixing the dripper, push it inside the lateral and pull it slightly. The end of lateral should be closed with end cap. Here I am demonstrating you how to attach lateral with sub main pipeline. So, in installation this is one of the important task. Main pipeline supplies water to the sub main pipeline. So, main pipeline is usually larger in size, so as to supply more water, and pipeline could be made up of PVC or HDPE. Now, here I am showing you this is a sub main pipeline which is made up of HDPE. Now, in this pipeline, when we want to attach lateral pipeline, so we will make a hole by using the drill bit. Now, this is a field operation, because this pipeline will be laid below the ground level and in the field. Just to demonstrate you, I am showing you separately to learn about the how the lateral pipeline is attached with the sub main pipeline. So, in sub main pipeline we are using a drill bit. So, using this drill bit a hole will be made, and in the hole we will be placing, this is a gasket, we will be placing gasket, and then there is a GTO. GTO is practically it is a grommet takeoff. So, grommet takeoff is of different sizes. If I want to attach 16 millimeter pipeline, so 16 millimeter pipeline will be attached with the grommet takeoff. So, normally what is to be done? The water which is coming say from this direction. So, direction of the grommet takeoff inlet, it will be in this direction, means perpendicular to the direction of the flow where the water will be entering, and then a lateral pipeline will be attached with the grommet takeoff, and on the lateral pipeline we will place dripper at appropriate location. This is a dripper, and dripper will be attached with the help of a punch. So, you can see how the hole is being made by using dripper drill bit, and then how the grommet takeoff is being inserted inside the sub main pipeline. नीचे रखो, as if it is in the ground. This is a hole which has been made with the help of a drill bit. Now, you can see here, after the hole was made, a washer has been placed in the hole, so that water does not leak from this place. Now, the grommet takeoff has been placed in the hole by attaching the this particular washer, and then the important part is if the flow is coming from this direction. So, this arrow is shown. So, this arrow is basically it is showing the water will be entering from this end. So, this is the inlet end of the pipeline where the water will be entering, and then on this a lateral will be attached. So, you can see here a lateral has been attached with the submain pipeline. Now, on this lateral, as means wherever the position require, we want to give water in the over the plant root zone. So, exactly at that place hole will be made, or thoda bada karo, hole will be made So, this is the thing when we have attached the lateral pipeline with submain pipeline, lateral pipeline it has been attached with the submain pipeline, and then the dripper has been attached with the lateral pipeline. So, one can see that after attaching the drip emitters, how the water it is emerging out of the drip emitter. So, the water which is coming out of the drip emitter, it will depend upon the pressure available in the pipeline, and particularly pressure available at the tip of the nozzle, means at this particular place how much is the pressure available. So, this has to be monitored from the inlet end of the lateral. Now, you can see here when the lateral, this particular drippers when we have attached and when we are supplying water. So, the water which is coming out from one end to the other end, it forms the waiting circle. This is the waiting circle it will form. So, when we are observing, one part is that observing the amount of water which is delivering out of the drip emitter, but all the drip emitters water cannot be collected. So, only few sample places this water is being collected for finding out the uniformity of water discharging out of the drippers. So, if we take observation, just visual observation, how the waiting circle it is forming, it has formed. So, if it is of uniform in size, all throughout field, if you see, if it is of uniform size, it shows that the drippers have given uniform discharge. Okay, now we will learn what are the important operational part which are there in the drip irrigation system component, and this should be taken care. So, basically for proper operation of a drip irrigation system, one should acquire the complete information from the designer. When one wants to operate the system, so a designer or dealer, we should have the complete record, complete information that how to operate all these components. The person who is operating, he should know when to irrigate, means when the irrigation system should be put on, then how long the pump or drip irrigation should be operated. Means this will depend upon the type of the crop. This will also depend upon the number of drippers which has been placed to the each. So, dripper capacity and the requirement of the water of the crop, accordingly the time of irrigation, one should have the full knowledge about this. Checking the water meter reading, recording the values and also accurately setting the hydraulic metering unit, means one should know the what is the amount of water which is flowing. So, all those metering part one should have the data. Now, operating the head valve to begin irrigation, checking the system along all components for proper operation, beginning with pressure gauge reading at the head end side and then finding out the how much is the discharge it is giving, at least on a random basis. Such data should be collected. One should visit the farm at different points and then see that whether all the drippers are delivering the discharge as per the recommended value. Then setting and operating the chemicals and fertilizer injection equipment accordingly as per the guidelines. So, this should be another point one should take care. So, having understood these parts, one can operate and then install the system properly. Now, to learn more in detail, these are the books, textbooks as well as the other reference book one can refer to get the full knowledge about the design, about the installation part, about the operating the different components. So, to summarize this particular lecture, we discussed about how to install the pump, how to install the filter unit, how to install the fertigation unit and how to operate the drip irrigation system components, and these points one should take care so to get the maximum benefit or full efficiency of the system. Now, in forthcoming lecture, we will discuss about maintenance of drip irrigation system. So, thank you very much.